Greetings YouTube and welcome to my next weapons build. Today we're going to try to come up with two separate projects using one piece of steel. The first project is going to be a pick. Now this piece of square stock tubing here with this strange rectangular piece attached to it, which is welded in place. The whole thing's nice chromed steel, looks very cool. This was part of some sort of commercial clothing rack from a store. I picked up the entire rack in pieces. There's 10 pieces, 3 of them straight and the rest all have these angles for $5 at a yard sale. So that's considerably cheaper than I could get square stock tubing at the hardware store, and it doesn't come chromed, which is kind of cool. So what I want to do here is create a very sharp angle here to make a pick. And the other portion of this is going to become a spearhead. So we're going to get two projects out of the same piece of steel. So it's going to come probably a slope like that. I'll have to figure out the exact distance. I'll have to figure out what I want for where I want the cut and what the slope's going to be. But it's going to be fairly shallow, you know, probably maybe 8 inches. I don't know. We'll find that out. I'll have to play around with this and put some lines on it. And then this is going to become the spearhead. Now, you could just attach the spearhead like this to a shaft and that would work, but it'd be boring and it wouldn't be particularly strong. No, what I want to do is create a V here and then 2 vertical lines on either side so that I can slide this inside of this aluminum tube, which happens to be a flagpole. And I don't remember where I got this. It could have been an estate sale, but it's a flagpole. It's an aluminum flagpole. Had a plastic cap in the end. I took that out, and I'm going to keep this. Why not? Might as well keep it on the end. I'll put the spearhead in the other one. Now, if I can get this to fit, this is a 1/2 inch thick, or a little bit more than a 1/2 inch, like 5 thou, and the inside diameter of the tubing is just under 1 inch. So I'm going to probably end up with about that much here, about halfway, maybe a bit more, probably 4 inches, maybe 6. We'll see again the proportions once I get this cut and everything. And this will all slide inside. Then I will drill 2 holes through the back through the tubing, and then 2 holes into here, and then rivet the whole thing together. Just 2 pop rivets. Boom, done. So there will be no really significantly visible fasteners, just the 2 pop rivets in the back. And I think it's going to give that a very clean look, and it's going to kind of this will be in place still, so it's going to kind of give it a wolf spear vibe, you know what I mean? Because you can't go past that. So we're going to see how this goes. And I may cut an angle in the tubing to match the angle on the spearhead. I haven't decided on that yet. That could be done. We'll see how it looks and see what I think it's going to look like, because that will make the tubing thinner and a little weaker up here, because if you put that angle on there, that means there's not going to be a lot of aluminum on that end. So I'll see how it looks. I may leave it straight. I may cut an angle into it. Again, a lot of this is aesthetic development as the project goes on. So the first thing I need to do is make a line on this and make 1 straight cloth, cut across there, and that will make the pick portion close to done. Clean up the edge, wrap the handle, and the pick is close to being done. I may do something to this section up here. We're going to find that out once I get it cut. And what do I think? So let's get the angle grinder out. I already got my apron on. I got my earplugs in. So we're all set to start cutting. So here we have the 2 rough cuts complete. This is going to be the striking head, and this is going to be the spearhead. It was a very strange cut, because once I got inside of it, you know, the blade just kind of goes, and suddenly you're cutting on one wall, and then you're dropping down to the next wall. It's a very strange sensation, but quite interesting. And so I need to clean this up, and I need to clean this up to make it look a little bit nicer. This will be much easier because it's a much easier thing to handle. That's going to be a little bit more tricky. But I like the angle. I don't know what the angle is specifically. I didn't measure it so much as I took this, I figured out where I wanted it to start, and I just kind of moved this back and forth till I got to the point where it was roughly hitting at the 60-degree mark from one side. Yeah, so like this, like about where 60 was, and that's where I marked it. So it wasn't set to a specific angle so much as what I found aesthetically pleasing. That's a really nasty piece of trim on there. I have to get rid of that. All right. Oh yeah, and some of you may notice that my floor is a little damp. We had a major rainstorm, and I had to use my shop vac to suck up all the standing water that was in my basement. So now you're just looking at a damp floor, but at least I'm not standing in a puddle. That would be dangerous. So now time to clean this up, and I don't know if I'm going to do anything here or not. I haven't decided. Let's get it cleaned up first, and then I'll decide what my my aesthetic taste tells me to do. I decided to put a hole in there just for fun. I'm kind of happy with the overall look. I think it might have been a little bit better if I'd gone down one step from to like 3/4 of an inch instead of 22 millimeters. I think that would have been a little bit better ratio, but it's done and I can't put it back. There are the little pieces that came out of this, and this is the the grinding stone I used to deburr the edge in a hand drill, just your standard 3/8 inch power drill. This is all cleaned up. This is done. So the only thing I have to do to this is wrap the handle, which is slightly problematic. I'm going to have to sweep the floor pretty good because I can't use my vacuum at the moment because it's still drying out. So yeah. Because I clamp things to the desk, to the bench, and then I have this line hanging all over the floor, and I don't want to get it too dirty. So we'll do that as soon as I get done cleaning the floor up a little. Now this time, it's time to do the layout to figure out how much I need to put into inside the shaft. So I think I have a template down here that'll have the same diameter as that piece of aluminum, and that way I can play with this more easily than trying to get it to work with the aluminum shaft itself. Having a template of the right diameter will make things a little easier. And if it don't have the right diameter template, I can always make one out of cardboard or something, just so I can kind of get my layout lines where I want them. Okay, so I can get rid of those. Don't need those anymore. Put this away, and then put that aside till it's time to wrap it, because I'm going to work on this. This is going to make a mess, so I'll wait till I'm done before I clean the floor and then wrap that handle. So I've got the shaft, 2 holes in it where I want them, and I've decided to reuse the hole that was already there, which means this is going to sit out a little bit further out than I had originally intended, but it means I only have to drill 1 hole in this thing, and at this point that makes me very happy. Getting this slot was a bit of a pain. Getting it to fit onto the thickness of this tubing was not the problem. The problem was trying to get it so that it was even vaguely centered. Let's see if I can get that. Where's my red mark? There's my red mark. So getting this thing even so it's even vaguely centered in the shaft, that was the hard part. That was the part that really caused me a lot of hassles. Again, this would be much easier if I had a mill and I could have just cut it in there specifically with very precise angles and stuff, but I'm doing this, you know, with hand tools and an angle grinder, so I did the best I could. So that ended up making that the width of the gap a little bit wider than I wanted. But when I'm finished with 2 rivets in this, it's not going to go anywhere. So now I need to mark that with some measurements, and then my set punch so I can drill a final hole. And I'm probably going to do that one freehand because I really don't want to have to set up a vise in my drill press just to drill that 1 hole. That would be a pain in the butt. It'd be much easier just to drill this 1 hole by hand. I've done it before. I can do it again. Alrighty, so 1 more hole. Make sure that the rivet fits, because you have to kind of like, sometimes you have to go in there with the drill bit and kind of walk it around to get the drill bit, the rivet to fit snugly, because, you know, the rivets are not high precision tools, they're just little pieces of aluminum. So sometimes you have to make a 1/4 inch hole slightly bigger than a 1/4 inch hole. That one fits perfectly as it is, which is awesome. Okay, so 1 more hole, and then we're at final assembly. Then I can clean the floor up a smidge and wrap the handle on the pick, and this entire project, both components, will be done. Well, from this angle, looks awesome. I mean, really, seriously, that's a cool looking spear. From this angle, not so much. It is not straight. Apparently the two holes, I did not notice this, are not here. They're like this. So this one looks okay. That one looks like, I don't know how I did it, but I had it laid out, but when I drilled it, because again, I don't have the ability to move this under the drill bit like you would with a milling machine so that they're perfectly in line. I don't have that capability. So at the moment, this is where it's going to stand. I may redo this shaft at some point in the future. It's not a big deal. Those are rivets, but you just drill them out. I mean, they're just aluminum. So you just drill those out and you can take the whole thing apart. So not excited with this. But I like the overall look. It kind of almost looks like a buoy in some ways in the shape and stuff with that little lip here. I like that. That's cool. But not happy with the centering. So now I got to sweep the floor up a bit and then wrap the handle, and then I'm finished down here for the day and I can take some pictures. So hopefully in the next couple of seconds you're going to see a wrapped handle on the pick.